So my name is Katie Jordan. I am ACS officer with the Abegweit Conservation Society, Abegweit First Nation, just shortly down the road from here. I'm grateful for you guys to have invited me today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what goes on at the Abegweit Conservation Society. A little bit about myself. So yeah, I did grow up in Eastern PEI through my mother's lineage. I am connected to the Haudenosaunee people of Six Nations out in Ontario. My family moved here in the 70s to farm tobacco in Valleyfield. So that's what brought us here. On my father's side, we basically settled in Murray Harbor and never left, so that's where I grew up. With Abegweit, I have been working for 4 years. I started off being hired as a traditional ecological knowledge researcher, so that was a lot of community connection and stuff. Not being from Abegweit First Nation, or Mi'kmaq in general, it was a big learning experience for me. I never, had the connection to my Indigenous communities being in Ontario. So I have learned a lot from the Mi'kmaq people here. So I'm, really grateful for that. So I just, really want to acknowledge that I am not, from the Mi'kmaq community, but I do work for the Mi'kmaq community and, have had a lot of connection and learning. I started the journey actually through an Indigenous youth career program where I decided that I wanted to do conservation. So I had a job first at Island Nature Trust. So I worked with Julie Lynn, spent a lot of time in the woods and learned a lot from her. And then I moved on to doing traditional knowledge research with the Mi'kmaq Confederacy related to American eel, and which got me my job at Abegweit, researching American eel and Atlantic salmon first, which is both, of course, a very culturally significant species to the Mi'kmaq people. We do a lot of traditional knowledge also with the black ash tree, of course, which is also a very culturally significant species. But going into that, I really like to say that, it's not just the Indigenous community, and I'm sure, we're all very like-minded people here, where, we don't look at the one species when we go and talk about salmon or eels or black ash or whatever. The conversation always goes and circles around to something else, because through our teachings as Indigenous people, we learn that everything is interconnected. We're all connected to the plants, the animals, the land, the water. Everything has a spirit to it. So, it's important for us to, keep that in mind, and that kind of brings us with a deeper connection to our environment through our teachings and through our culture. And it's nice to share. It's always nice to learn. I didn't learn about my culture until my adult life. So, it's, you can always learn, and there's always steps to take towards learning and having that connection. If you look, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the medicine wheel. Helena here builds wonderful medicine wheel gardens too. I've learned a lot from Helena as well. And if you visualize a medicine wheel, I'm sure you guys have seen it in a lot of Indigenous imagery, where it's the divided into quarters, a circle, and there's different teachings with that, where there's different colors that represent the 4 directions, different people, different plants. It all kind of depends, different stages of life. So visualizing the medicine wheel and kind of viewing everything as a circle, that's how we look at the ecosystem as well. And us as humans, we carry the values that we don't sit on top of everything else. We're all woven into this connection with everything else in our environment. So that's the values that we carry with our work a lot. And, that helps everybody to gain, that deep connection and appreciation for our environments. So a little bit about Abegweit. This is our Chief of Council. Chief Junior Gould, I'm sure you've seen, you know, a lot. He does a lot of work for his community. In the 4 years that I have worked for Abegweit, I have seen an amazing amount of growth within that community, and yeah, it's very, very prideful to see, you know, how much the community is growing and how much, you know, we're coming to the table at things like this and, you know, different levels. So it's nice to be, you know, welcomed in to share. Councillor Chris Jadis, Councillor Sherry Bernard, and Councillor Jacob Jadis as well. So PEI is unique where we only do have 2 First Nation communities on PEI. A lot of other provinces have a lot more than that. And you know, Abegweit is east, Lennox Island is west, so you know there's a broad range. Even Abegweit First Nation in itself, you may just think of Scotchford because you know it's right here. You drive by it on the highway, you see it, but it's actually divided into 3 different places. So there's Scotchford, which is kind of the main part of the community, but there's also the Morel Reserve, which is the Morel River. It runs in back of that reserve, and also Rocky Point, which is a very like coastal part of the land. So you know we cover a lot of different ecosystems just with the First Nation properties. So we have a lot of different species on there, and a lot of great work being done with the Abegweit Conservation Society and all of our wonderful partners that we work with as well. Oh, I don't think that's on. So in our office, we are the Natural Resources Department, so that covers quite a few different branches. We have fisheries, commercial fisheries, as well as the, oh my gosh, you know, culturally harvesting, all of that. So, you know, we have commercial lobster, commercial crab, tuna as well, and we lease a lot of licenses out as well to non-Indigenous fishers and community members as well. We have EMO, which is our emergency management, guardians, which act as kind of our fisheries liaisons on the wharf during fishing season, and you know anything that may arise with that. So they speak a lot, you know, for treaty rights within our community and whatnot. This is some of our crew there. So that is on the far left. That is Tyrone Paul. He's our director. So he asked me to be here instead of him today. So he goes to a lot of these meetings, but I'm trying to, you know, step in more for him as I kind of grow in my role as well. So part of this, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this building. It's right off the highway. So this is our hatchery. So we have a partnership with the province to bring in Atlantic salmon as well as brook trout and raise them to be released. We just released 1 million fish in the last year, so that was a big accomplishment for the hatchery. It is quite a small building, but I find it's like an illusion. It's bigger once you get in there from when you're looking outside. So our hatchery, we take Atlantic salmon. We just finished our spawning actually in the last week. So we take them a lot from Morel River. Some come from further up west too. And they spawn the salmon right in the hatchery, and then they raise the eggs, and they'll be released, you know, early summer. With our hatchery as well, we also have the Fish Friends program. So I worked as the Fish Friends program coordinator for 2 years, and what we do with that is we're connected to around 22 or 23 schools all across the island. So when the school signs up for the program, we supply them with the setup, with the tank and the chiller and everything. We deliver the eggs to them usually right after March break, and they will have those fish in their classroom until mid to end of June. It's a fun, really end of the school year field trip, and the kids really get to, you know, go and have that connection with the land. We try to set up elders to share during those releases. We have a presentation with the schools kind of midway through the project as well. So that is a really well-received program. Kids really, really love it. And we target grades 4 to 8 or 4 to 6. We have some like high school conservation classes and stuff that join us as well. But we really, I just noticed how low that is. Oh, it's like falling. I'm just gonna hang on. I lost my train of thought. I got distracted by the microphone. Sorry. So we really bring, you know, the cultural element to the salmon as well. We discuss the life cycle and everything of the salmon, but we also really talk about, you know, the value of the salmon to us and how we really want to, you know, safeguard the salmon for future generations. And we target kids with that age group mostly because at that age they're just little sponges, right? They take in all of that information and, you know, they can really soak up those cultural values. And you know, with our beliefs, the youth are really, you know, our future with that. So we're really trying to, you know, raise a new generation of people who want to protect the salmon. So some of our ACS crew, we have forestry and stream enhancement. So our forestry crew, you know, does a lot of harvesting, but we also are like, you know, clearing the woods and stuff. But we also have our black ash project that we work with McPhail Woods. The guy in the middle there, CJ, so that's our forestry manager. So he works with Dan McCrae quite a bit. The last 2 years they've been doing a lot of work to go out and identify black ash trees, collect seeds. So we have been, you know, growing black ash, and we're hoping to plant them in the next upcoming years. We've planted some, but we still have more to plant, and you know, to really find out where black ash is across PEI. You know, go check it out and see, you know, assess the health and kind of learn some new things about it. Stream enhancement team, we focus our work specifically on the Magell River, but we also partner with Morel River as well. So we cover kind of the 2 main salmon rivers out east that would also be culturally significant rivers to the Mi'kmaq people, as well as Mill River up west. So we do a lot of, you know, stream restoration, habitat monitoring. This time of year we have our fish trap out, so we're, you know, we're monitoring the salmon and the trout as they're running through, and we're pit tagging them, and then we track them throughout the system kind of through the year with those pit tags and readers that we have set up along the Magell River. So holistic stewardship, this is where, you know, Abegweit really brings our traditional values to the table. You know, we're all like-minded with conservation, but you know, our traditional values and our teachings that, you know, people have carried for thousands of years, you know, is still with us, and we really try to carry that with us with all the work that we do and the decisions that we make for our work plans as we go along. So yeah, that's so we also have a lot of fun with our work too. I'm very, very fortunate for all the coworkers that I have. I love where I work. So a traditional ecosystem approach, as I was saying earlier, you know, about the medicine wheel and viewing everything in this circle. When we talk about Atlantic salmon or black ash, you know, we don't just focus on that one species, and the way that we view it is that ecosystems shouldn't exist in these silos. You know, we should view them as all connected, even, you know, land and sea, because it is all connected. And a good, you know, example of that, of course, would be Fiona, where streams and forestry really had to team up to clear a lot of our streams for the fish passage. So, you know, it all ties in. If your forest is healthy, then, you know, in turn your streams will be healthy. I didn't really I don't pre-plan what I'm gonna say, I just kind of talk from my heart, so I'm just making sure I hit all the points. So we have a lot of great partners, Parks Canada, of course, the province, PFO, a lot of nonprofits that are in the province as well. So, we both bring things to the table. There's knowledge gaps with both organizations, where a lot of people have gone to school and studied this and spent a lot of time on it, whereas some of our team have learned throughout their lives, and they have the traditional values that they may have learned from their grandparents or whatnot. So there's a lot of strengths in both of these ways of knowing, and we try to get the two of them to work together, whereas in the past it could have been viewed as these traditional values kind of butted heads with the Western science and the Western ways of knowing. We get those to flow together as much as possible. I don't know if anybody has heard of the term two-eyed seeing. The word is Abegweit in Mi'kmaq. So that was a term kind of brought forward by an elder, a Mi'kmaq elder named Albert Marshall. So the meaning of Abegweit is two-eyed seeing. So you're using one eye to see through the lens of your traditional and your cultural knowledge, as well as using one lens to see through the Western science way. So using both of these ways to see gives you a broader look at what you're looking at and a deeper understanding of that. Tyrone put this together, so he put a lot of funny pictures in it. So this was one day that we were all out with Parks Canada, walking the shores along Rocky Point. We were surveying bank swallows, so we look at a lot of species that are directly connected to the First Nation property as well, and also capacity building for our crew. Whereas I said, some of us are not formally trained with master's degrees and whatnot. We work with these organizations to share knowledge with each other and increase the knowledge of our crew to be able to better advocate for our own stewardship as an organization. So that was it for what Tyrone put in, but I can take any questions and we can kind of just open the floor and kind of guide the conversation if anybody has any questions. I have my card with me. What we really wanted to address with you guys in the room as well is, you guys have that deep connection to land, obviously, because you guys are woodlot owners. You guys understand your land, and you one thing with PEI is people really have that pride in their land. It doesn't matter if you're Indigenous or not, you have that deep connection to your land. So with the growing connection with us and other organizations and whatnot, and our Black Ash project as well, what we're really trying to work with as many people as we can to figure out where black ash is, and to identify potential planting sites in the future and whatnot. So if anybody wants to discuss that with me or give me your phone number or anything, we can have a chat with anything like that to contribute to our black ash data collection and potentially have some planting sites that are suitable. We really try to think 7 generations ahead. So that's how we view all of our decisions that we're making. Is this going to be, relevant for 7 generations down the road? Is the salmon or the black ash or, whatever species we're looking at still going to be here for us, in 7 generations, thinking about our great-great-great-great-grandchildren. Because if you look 7 generations behind on Prince Edward Island, PEI looked very different compared to what it is now. And if you think about, in the future of 7 generations, what's it going to look like? And are we, making these good decisions to really make sure that we do have a good place here for everybody? So, yeah, I can open the floor to questions, anything. Yeah, thank you.